Good evening. On the news tonight. "17 foreigners are among 461 people who have tested positive for COVID-19 in the last 24 hours in Kenya, even as the virus permeates government offices." Also tonight, Nairobi City County Governor Mike Sonko has said the Nairobi Metropolitan Services is illegally running services in Nairobi County and should instead be placed under his office. Plus, the National Assembly unanimously approves the appointment of Nancy Kabui Gathungu as the new Auditor General nearly a year after the exit of Edward Ouko. And a one-on-one interview with fiery Tanzanian politician Tundu Lissu, who is about to return to his country to face his nemesis, President Pombe Magufuli. Good evening. Ann Wairimu is our sign language interpreter. TV47 News Tonight with me, Abubakar Abdullahi, begins right now to our top story. Now, local flights resumed operations today after they were grounded 3 months ago following an executive order by President Uhuru Kenyatta in response to the fight against coronavirus. Flights were dispatched from the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, Moi International Airport, and Kisumu International Airport to different destinations in the country. Mwangi Maina begins our broadcast tonight.
At exactly 11 a.m. at the Moi International Airport, Mombasa, it was another moment of pure joy as a Kenya Airways flight, an Embraer 90, touched down to a water cannon salute. It was the first domestic flight to be received at the airport 99 days later after travel restrictions were effected. The Kenyan flag, flown by one member of the crew, flew high, giving high hopes that soon the flag will be flown in international airspace after a period of 3 months. The airplane was disinfected first before the passengers embarked. On board was the Kenya Airways Managing Director Alan Kilavuka and Acting Managing Director Kenya Airports Authority Alex Gitari.
Sisi kwetu tunataka kuhakikishia wasafiri wote kwamba tumeweka mikakati yote ambayo yanatakikana ili wawe salama kwenye ndege. Tunahakikisha kwamba watu kuna usafi wa kutosha, yani sanitization.
Nataka watu wasikie kweli viwanja vyetu ni safe na waanze kusafiri. Kwa sasa hivi tutaanza na safari za humu nchini domestic, lakini kuanzia tarehe 1 Agosti tutaanza hizo safari za nchi za nje, international.
A jumbo jet operated flight had also touched down at the airport at 8 a.m. and left moments later for Nairobi. The flight giving hope amidst a pandemic ravaging the whole world. Mombasa Deputy Governor Dr. William Kingi and a host of tourism stakeholders who had gone to receive the flight exuded confidence that tourism in the county will receive a major boost since the county is a tourism hub.
Hapa Mombasa na pwani kwa jumla ni mahali pa muhimu kwa kuwa na mikutano. Kwa hivyo hiyo biashara yote ilikuwa tumepoteza. Kwa hivyo tunaona leo kwa sababu ya hii resumption ya hii flight za kutoka Nairobi kuja Mombasa, pia biashara zitafunguka.
Kingi would also flag off the plane on its return trip to JKIA on board 71 passengers. Meanwhile, in Kisumu, Governor Anyang' Nyong'o was at the Kisumu International Airport to receive a flight from the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport and also flagged off another KQ flight. Resumption of international flights is scheduled for August 1st. The resumption of flights is a major boost to the tourism industry, but it is not yet a moment of celebration since the fight against the COVID-19 is far from being won. Mwangi Maina, TV47, Nairobi.
Elsewhere, Deputy President William Ruto's allies have been placed in less influential committees in the National Assembly in changes that were tabled today in the House. Former Majority Leader Aden Duale is the only pro-Ruto ally who got an influential committee position and will now serve as a member of the House's Public Accounts Committee. Joash Onsare reports.
The changes in House committees were tabled in House Wednesday, with Deputy President William Ruto's allies who were recently discharged placed in less influential House committee. Former Majority Leader Aden Duale is the only Ruto ally who was placed in an influential committee after he was placed at the Public Accounts Committee in the National Assembly. Kikuyu legislator Kimani Ichung'wah has been chairing the House Budget Committee, will now serve as a member of the House's Welfare and Facilities Committee. His position at the Budget Committee been taken by Kieni MP Kanini Kega.
Again, want to thank you very, very much for according me a specific seat with a ranking member. Again, I become the first ranking member in the House, and I want to thank the House Business Committee.
I want to assure you, Honorable Junet, I will make sure that you are properly facilitated. Even the Deputy Leader of Minority, Mzee Baba of the House, Mzee Nuru Angwenyi, Mzee Maina Commander, we will ensure whether it is virtually or physically, they are properly facilitated.
16 Ruto allies were discharged from various House committees in the recent Jubilee purge.
I can see the former Majority Leader can do better as a backbencher than where he was, Mr. Speaker. Today, the kind of contribution he has made to this House, Mr. Speaker, are very, very good, Mr. Speaker. I have never doubted the capacity of Honorable Ichung'wah. He's one of the best members of Parliament in this House, Mr. Speaker, having served with him now in 2 terms and as the chair. And I know he will serve very well in the Committee of Member Services, the catering committee, Mr. Speaker.
A section of MPs, however, dissatisfied with the changes.
Mr. Speaker, I've gone through the list. Quite a number of members in this House are in 2-3 committees, and the worst are 4. Mr. Speaker, to be fair, let us have members being given equal opportunity in this House.
We must look at these things, evaluate things, Mr. Speaker, so that we do things objectively, so that we have equality and equity, Mr. Speaker.
House various committees are expected to conduct their elections Thursday. Joash Onsare, TV47, Nairobi.
Still in Parliament, the National Assembly has approved the nomination of Nancy Janet Gathungu as the new Auditor General, following her nomination by President Uhuru Kenyatta. She is expected to succeed Edward Ouko, whose term expired in August 2019 after an 8-year tenure. While endorsing the report on Finance and Planning Committee, which recommended the appointment of Gathungu, MPs have, however, criticized the delay in the nomination of a new Auditor General following Ouko's departure from office last year.
Someone once, Mr. Speaker, told me that if you are keen to notice the former Auditor General, Mr. Edward Ouko, usually used to keep his hair completely shaved. But it was not by choice. I'm told within a few months of him being in that office and taking over that office, his hair was falling very fast. And before I came this afternoon, I had to talk to, and the reason was because of the magnitude of the constitutional weight of that office. But before I came to this afternoon to this chamber, Mr. Speaker, I talked to a friend of his, and I'm told, since he left office, his hair is growing back. So is mine.
I trained as an auditor myself from my early days. And I actually know what it means for somebody to stick in audit for that long. It's like wine. You know, the longer you're there, the better you get. You know, you mature. You've seen it all in terms of all the variations of what people can do, what cannot do.
So I'm just wondering how many more women are out there with these amazing skills that we are not recognizing. And that is why whenever we see a situation where a woman has been recognized like Nancy has, then those of us who are pushing the gender agenda are very happy.
These offices, they are given to us, independent offices, so that you can have courage, you can have independence, and you can have professionalism. If you lose any of those, then the need for independence of those offices go, and Kenyans will start demanding that they are necessary. Let us hold on to the truth and expectation of the Constitution.
Janet, unfortunately, she's coming to office with a lot of question marks that she must really work hard to demonstrate that those who overlooked her were wrong, and those who have now found her fit to occupy this position are right. And she must demonstrate to Kenyans that that stone which was rejected became the cornerstone in terms of upholding accountability, transparency, and integrity in the management of public finance and resources in this country.
This House approves the appointment of Ms. Nancy Janet Kavoi Gathungu as the Auditor General. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Now, as the number of COVID-19 infections in the country continues to spike, a number of state agencies have been affected by the transmission, with some even closing down operations. Zainab Mohammed has the details.
Over 100 days since Kenya recorded its first case of the novel coronavirus, infection rates have continued to surge, with government offices not left behind in the COVID-19 ravage. Offices in the Ministry of Lands, the ICT Ministry, the National Treasury, the Judiciary, Parliament buildings, and even the Public Service Commission offices are reported to have been affected, some even closing their doors or downscaling their services. The Ministry of Health now warning that these cases in workplaces will continue to be reported if Kenyans will not take proper precautions in the fight against COVID-19.
The virus will find itself in many places. Public offices, high offices are not an exception. We will continue to see many different places where we will find that there are cases of infection, that there is spread of infection, and we need to be able to move in quickly and try to stop that spread of infection. So if we have today infection cases at the ICT offices, I think it is not a matter of surprise, it is an expectation.
The government is further appealing to NHIF and other private insurance service providers to review their policies and accommodate the effects of COVID-19 pandemic to its beneficiaries in matters such as covering the payment of COVID-19 testing that is proving to be unaffordable to most Kenyans.
NHIF, the entire insurance industry, I think is in a situation where they have now to look at and review their policies, because coronavirus was not there before. It was not there when the policies were set and the exclusions and inclusions were set. I think it's a process now of reviewing this and seeing what it means, what the implications are in terms of cost and what can be covered. But I can tell you that these discussions are ongoing, not only with NHIF, but also in the private insurance industry.
The number of COVID-19 cases in the country has risen to 11,252 after 461 people tested positive in the last 24 hours, and it is spread across counties.
Patikana, Nairobi ina watu 248, Machakos 97, Kiambu 20, Kajiado 15, Migori 14, Busia 12, Nakuru 11, Laikipia 7, Nyeri 7, Kilifi 6, Lamu 4, Wasingishu 4, Kakamega 3, Kisii 3, Kisumu 2, Makueni 2, Mombasa, Taita Taveta na Bomet 1 kila county.
In counties' preparedness, the Council of Governors says counties have continued to progress towards the right direction. In a statement to newsrooms, the council says in total the counties have set up 271 isolation centers with 12,034 beds, 447 ICUs and 437 ventilators. Elsewhere, all National Assembly committee sittings will only be done virtually as from Tuesday, July 28th. This is according to Speaker Muturi, who ruled that all committee sittings remain suspended until the said date, when necessary measures will have been put in place to accommodate virtual meetings. For TV47, I'm Zainab Mohammed.
Elsewhere, no schools will be reopened until all COVID-19 measures put in place are achieved. This is according to Education CS Professor George Magoha. Our Education Affairs reporter Andrin Kilemi now reports.
Strathmore University is the only institution that has so far complied with the COVID-19 set regulations. Education CS Professor George Magoha says all institutions of higher learning will have to comply with the set regulations before resuming learning in September this year.
The nearest that I can say has complied is Strathmore University, their campus at Strathmore. And we have allowed them to arrange to get their examination class in, but we shall be with them during that examination.
Speaking during his inspection tour in Maragua and Mishuki Technical Institutes, Professor Magoha called on the management of institutions of higher learning to ensure they will have enough water storage facilities for hand washing, as well as maintain the 1.5 meter rule social distancing.
If we tell you what you must do and you don't do, then you shall not open. I can't tell you to read my lips because I'm wearing a mask, but you can take it to the bank.
Maragua Member of Parliament Mary Waithera said through the National Government Constituencies Development Fund, the county will ensure schools get sufficient water.
Even if we are not going to open September, there around latest January, we shall have our youth who are just out here taking illicit bills and abusing drugs will soonest get a place they can call their college.
Magoha is expected to tour Asubi and Kericho County to inspect the preparedness in learning institutions. Andrin Kilemi for TV47.
You're watching TV47 News Tonight with me, Abubakar Abdullahi, 16 minutes past 9 p.m. Time for us to take a short break. We still have a lot lined up for you. We'll be back after this break. Stay tuned. Welcome back to TV47 News Tonight with me, Abubakar Abdullahi. Thank you for choosing to stay with us. Now, 11 people, among them trustees of the Kenya Ports Authority pension scheme and a lawyer, have returned 70 million shillings to the authority. They had fraudulently obtained in a land transaction. This follows an out-of-court settlement after the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission charged the 11 with obtaining the 70 million shillings from the Kenya Ports Authority Retirement Benefit Scheme. The asset recovery targeted lawyer Joseph Karanja Kanyi, Cecily Faith Mango, and Michael Kioko Maundu, all trading as Kanyi and Company advocates. The others are Kikambala Development Company Limited, Ephraim Maina Ruingo, Janet Njiru Karanja, Celine Consultant Limited, Frederick Otieno Oyugi, Joy Kavutsi Asiema, Joan Zawadi Karema, Juma Benson Doya, Harry John Paul Arigi, and elsewhere, Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko is now decrying of harassment from Mohamed Badi-led Nairobi Metropolitan Service. Sonko was appearing before Senate's Public Accounts Committee over audit queries. And as Elizabeth Mutuku now reports, the county boss wants the service to be placed under his administration.
The whole truth and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Appearing before the Senate's Public Accounts Committee, Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko has insisted that the Mohamed Badi-led Nairobi Metropolitan Service, a high court had ruled that the service, which runs the number of functions in Nairobi, was not legally constituted.
Me as the governor of Nairobi, I'm saying legalize NMS. Let it be an entity under the county government of Nairobi. Then we give them the money. Mr. Chair, we respect the president. We respect the rule of law. Today the president is in power. Maybe after 3 years, questions will be raised. Why did you give money to NMS and it is illegal? Nitatafutwa mali niko, nisamuniwa kwa hii committee. Why did you do that? It is illegal, Mr. Chair.
Sonko now decrying of harassment from the NMS, which he is proposing to be transferred to operate under his administration.
I'm raising this issue because we want this committee or the Senate to harmonize these working operations between us and NMS.
NMS boss Mohamed Badi has been claiming he is not interested in power struggle between him and the county boss. A section of senators, however, claiming that NMS is illegal.
Mentioning an entity which is not before us, I think the best case scenario from where I sit, you need to tell him he's out of order for mentioning an entity that is not before us. What maybe he could probably ask, Mr. Chair, is ask His Excellency the Governor to give his views.
We should be listening to what the Governor is saying so that when we retire, to be able to think about the way forward, we can then be able to give a substantive ruling. Because I really think we're being unfair to either the Governor or even whatever information we get. Mr. Chairman, Article 125 gives us the power.
It is not only being able to access the office, it is also some of these staff have been redeployed to Nairobi Metropolitan Services. So all these issues, we can't avoid this issue of NMS because one, some of the issues that we need to audit are some of the issues that the staff that have been deployed, and the Governor has said a very critical point, that he is not even aware the law was not following in redeployment of those staff to NMS.
Request for adjournment does not mean that the Governor does not want to appear to this committee. He's requesting for adjournment so that we find a way of facilitating his production of documents that we need.
Sonko sought an adjournment of the meeting convened to grill him over audit queries. He said he didn't have documents to submit to the panel to explain the queries.
We are aware of what is going on. You are permitted to submit to this committee either in the way of a petition or in the way of everything else that you want to do before the committee to the Senate, and you are very well briefed about how Senate functions, and then this matter will be referred to the relevant committee for adjudication and for discussion, and they will have an opportunity to appear before that committee and explain yourself the way forward.
Sonko further accusing the national government of delaying over 200 million Kenya shillings owed as pending bills.
Mr. Chair, here Nairobi County pia ni pesa si makaratasi. So we are appealing to this House, Mr. Chair, also to assist us in getting this debt the national government is owing us, 236 billion, to be cleared. This is a lot of money, Mr. Chair.
President Uhuru Kenyatta has been pushing Treasury to clear pending bills. Elizabeth Mutuku, TV47 Nairobi.
Thank you, Elizabeth Mutuku, for that report. Elsewhere, police officers in Murang'a County have launched a manhunt for 2 sub-chiefs and a police officer after they were found pants down, literally, with a 16-year-old girl inside the Aberdare forest in Murang'a County. The father to the girl is deeply saddened by the incident, saying it is unfortunate that the 3 government officers were not role model to the community. Education CS Professor George Magoha has condemned the act, saying no one is above the law and immediate action should be taken against the suspects.
It is in Aberdare Forest where 2 sub-chiefs, one from Todho and another from Wanjere area in Murang'a County, and 1 police officer allegedly engaging in sexual act with a minor. The trio fled immediately after their cover was blown. Only the 16-year-old girl was left telling disturbing story. A resident in the area witnessed the 4 entering Aberdare Forest and alerted fellow residents. A resident in the area witnessed the 4 entering Aberdare Forest and alerted fellow residents who later met the government officers.
Walienda wakakaa kwa msitu, nikaona wamekaa, nikatafuta namba ya mama yake, nikampigia simu na tukapiga duru, watu wakakuja. Wawili wakapotea, moja ndio tulishika.
The father of the girl is saddened by the incident and now wants justice for his daughter, who is a Form 3 student.
Mimi niko na uchungu sana. Hata mimi nasikia kama watu wale wanajinyonga kwa watoto wao, ni uchungu. Sasa mimi vile mimi nataka serikali ichukue jukumu kali.
Area Police Commander John Ogola confirmed the dreadful incident, saying investigations are underway. At the same time, Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha said no one will be allowed to deprive minors of their rights. In his tour in Murang'a County today, he added that he will ensure that justice is done for the girl.
There is nobody, to the last time I checked, there is nobody who is above the law. And this corruption is blocking access to the law. Let us have the facts, and we shall take it to the high heavens, even before the president himself, and justice shall be done.
President Uhuru Kenyatta, in a recent statement, warned chiefs that they will be held responsible for cases of teenage pregnancies reported in the area.
Instances of teenage pregnancy have also escalated. I appeal to all our social institutions, including our religious institutions, to exercise civic responsibility to bring these unfortunate trends to an end.
Nanok Lauren, TV47.
Now, MCAs in Kirinyaga County have rejected Governor Anne Waiguru's proposed 2020-2021 budget. 25 members of the County Assembly voted to reject the budget, dealing a blow to Governor Anne Waiguru. And as Moige William now reports, this is likely to cripple service delivery in the embattled governor's administration.
25 MCAs out of 33 have voted to reject the county's 2020-2021 budget. Waiguru has been claiming the budget proposal she sent to the assembly has been mutilated. Only one ward representative supported the county budget, while another one abstained. 6 MCAs who have been Governor Waiguru's supporter walked out immediately after the voting bell rang.
Sababu hii memorandum ya governor ni ya kupunguza basari kutoka 140 million ikuje 1.5 million. Ipunguze pesa ya kutengeneza bridges, health centers kutoka 275 million shilling ikuje milioni 200, na hiyo
tumekataa.
This will now make it difficult for the county boss to work with MCAs planning to collect signatures to dissolve the county. On Monday, Ms. Waiguru called the Controller of Budget, Senate and Jubilee Party to intervene in the budget stalemate since the county operations are grounded.
Kuna kitu inaitwa vote on account. Hiyo inaletangwa assembly tupitishe, pesa itumike tu nusu ya ile ilikuwa bajeti. Nayo hiyo ikija pia hatutaki pesa njiko itumike mbure bila kazi, tutaikataa. Kwa hivyo sisi kuanzia siku yenye atarudi hiyo kitu itakuja hapa mjue ya kwamba sisi kama assembly tukiendelea kuokota signature tuko tayari kufanyia Wanjiko kazi mbure bilashi.
Lakini governor yeye sijui alikuwa advised na nani ama alitumia document gani, lakini alileta budget estimate ambao haifuati kabisa ile plan tulipitisha ya CFSP.
The budget committee says that during the scrutiny of the submitted budget, it was noted that CEC Finance Moses Migui did not adhere to recommendation contained in the approved county fiscal strategy paper, which was against provision of section 117(7) and 129(2)(b) of the PFM Act. Waiguru's executive has been accused of failing to explain an expenditure of 194 million Kenya shillings since January, following the retirement, resignation, dismissal, and the transfer of health workers within the course of the year.
Budget has fully conformed with the law. So if in the event that the governor wants to bring in a vote on account, first of all, that would be illegal, and we will not support it because we have followed the law, and as per PFM Act 134, we are within our rights to reject if they bring a vote on account.
Majority Leader Kamau Murango has accused the governor of inciting public emotions. With that, the assembly has reduced the money to fuel ambulances.
Anakataa kusaini, anaileta hapa akisema irudisho venye ilikuwa. Venye ilikuwa ni vipi? Ilikuwa na milioni 50 za kununua vikombe na kahawa na biskuti za kule New York. Hiyo tumekataa kwa sababu hata ile 100 ilienda na maji.
Waiguru survived an impeachment after members of the county assembly failed to substantiate the allegations before the Senate. Mwige William, TV47.
Moving on, President Uhuru Kenyatta has ordered the Presidential Delivery Unit to purchase 500 beds from 2 young innovators who recently made ICU and other hospital beds. This comes as the world marked World Youth Skills Day.
President Uhuru Kenyatta has instructed the government to procure 500 beds from 2 young innovators who locally manufactured hospital beds. The two, Mungai Gadhogo and Joseph Muhinja, have been manufacturing the beds from locally sourced material from their workshop in Githunguri, Kiambu County. However, Kenyans online have questioned the move after another innovator from Juja manufactured such beds.
Ile quality ile mzuri, ile hata tukikunja hiyo curve vile inakaa hivyo, haiwezi katika.
The Presidential Delivery Unit will be subjected to standardization test by the Kenya Bureau of Standards.
But I know when the COVID thing came, it made all business come down, and my market started reducing, and I saw myself I'm no longer in business, so I had to think of something that I can do, which has ready market.
The two innovators says each bed costs approximately 45,000 Kenya shillings, but sells up to 65,000 Kenya shillings. However, Mesha Kotieno sells the beds he makes for 25,000 Kenya shillings.
Producing this bed did cost us around 40 to 45,000. That is inclusive of the labor, the materials, and the wheels that you can see there. And so when I'm trying to sell this bed, and if I will be in business, actually the retail price that I can sell is around 60,000 to 65,000, and that's the price for the bed.
Many counties are yet to achieve the 300 bed capacity as ordered by President Uhuru Kenyatta.
Indeed, ICU beds made in Kenya, buy from Kenya, hence build Kenya. 34 minutes past 9 p.m. Time for us to take another short break here on TV47 News Tonight with me, Abubakar Abdullahi. After the break, we'll get to our interview. Tonight, our guest is Tanzanian opposition leader Tundu Lissu, who will discuss his coming back to Tanzania and, of course, the politics in as far as the polls of Tanzania are concerned. We'll be back after this break. Stay tuned. Welcome back to TV47 News Tonight with me, Abubakar Abdullahi. Thank you for, as always, choosing to stay with us. And as earlier promised, let's get to our interview and make sense of the polls in Tanzania, the politics, plus also our guest tonight, who is the opposition leader of Tanzania, Tundu Lissu, who joins us live from Belgium. Mheshimiwa, good evening, and thank you for making time for us tonight.
Thank you so much for having me, Abubakar, and salam alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Mheshimiwa, 3 years since you survived an assassination attempt that saw 16 shots on your body, 22 surgeries later. How are you feeling tonight?
Well, I'm feeling really great, Abubakar. It is actually 24 surgeries.
Not 22?
Not 22, it is 24.
How are you feeling now?
I'm feeling very well, thank you. Since you asked this, I think my Kenyan brothers and sisters should know that I'm doing very well. Thanks to their coming to my rescue, thanks to their contributing blood and giving me, as much support I could get in Nairobi for 4 months.
All right. What, in your view, could have led to such an attempt on your life?
Well, what led to those 16 bullet shots was my persistent criticism and opposition to President Magufuli's policies since he came to power. When Kenyans were falling all over yourselves with what could Magufuli do, I was about the only Tanzanian politician who called Magufuli out for what he was. And I said time and again that the country was in for a very, very rough patch under him. And it ended up nearly costing me my life.
All right, before the incident, you are the member of parliament, a member of the lawmaking arm of Tanzania's government. You are stripped of your parliamentary role because of what parliament says as a prolonged absence from parliament without informing the House Speaker. You are a lawyer. You are the former president of the Tanganyika Law Society. These are the basics of law. You needed to notify Parliament as to why you will not be attending 3 or more sessions.
How could I have notified the Speaker of my absence when I was airlifted to Nairobi from Dodoma unconscious, and I remained unconscious for 7 days? And thereafter, I was in hospital in Nairobi for 4 months. And since leaving Nairobi, I went straight to hospital in Belgium, where I was hospitalized for 11 months. Now, during all this period, the Speaker, the Bunge leadership knew exactly where I was. And
but why did your office? Mheshimiwa,
wait a minute. Let me finish with you. The Speaker communicated with my lawyers, with my family continuously during the period in question. So to say, he knew when I was going to go to Belgium. He promised to come to Nairobi to see me in hospital. He never did. And therefore, these fancy stories that he did not know where I was, I left without his permission, that's nonsense.
And given that it is a constitutional requirement to notify the office of the Speaker, why did your office in particular, not necessarily you, but your office, not notify the Speaker?
Listen, Abubakar, the decision to airlift me to Nairobi was made in a meeting at Dodoma Regional Hospital, in which the Speaker himself attended. The Deputy Speaker attended. The Minister for Health was there. The Clerk of the National Assembly participated. So these people knew. These people made it possible for me to be airlifted to Nairobi. He knew all along. He knew all along. All this, like I say, these fancy stories that I needed his permission. He's the one who permitted me to be airlifted. I was half dead.
All right, you've been out of the country now, if not more than 3 years, close to 3 years. Now, still as an opposition leader, from a bird's eye view in Belgium, what do you make of the politics in Tanzania?
I said in January of 2016, when President Magufuli clocked 100 days in office, I said that Tanzania was going to go through fire and brimstone, the likes of which were unprecedented in our entire history. Nearly 5 years later, here we are, a country that is on the verge of collapse, a country that has become the laughing stock of the continent, if not the world, a country that is now responsible for near collapse of the East African community, a country that is isolated within the region. The Kenyans, you Kenyans are not happy with our ways. Ugandans are not happy, Rwandese, everyone in the region and the continent and the world is unhappy with the way Tanzania has turned out to be under Magufuli's watch. We have become...
Tundu, you say you paint a picture of a country on the precipice of a failure, but that seemingly is not equally the case, isn't it? The World Bank recently categorized Tanzania as a middle-low income country. There are quite a number of development records that are happening in the country. When you look at this achievement of the current president, you see failure. You don't see them as a success.
My friend, my brother Abubakar, in Tanzania today, no one, not even the World Bank, can collect data and statistics independently of the government, because there is a law that criminalizes any collection and dissemination of information or statistics without the government's approval. So the numbers that they are bending about are just that, pure fiction.
This is the World Bank. This is not Magufuli's government. This is the World Bank that is categorizing Tanzania as a middle-lower income country. You're disputing the figures by the World Bank?
It is the World Bank itself which has been at the forefront of opposing the Statistics Act, which prohibits collection and dissemination of statistics that are not from the government. So what the World Bank is doing, unfortunately, is repeating the same old tired lies from the government.
But an increase in ratings of an economic standard is more than just numbers, isn't it?
It is mere numbers. Tanzanians today, let me give you an example, brother. Tanzanian workers have not had a salary increase in the 5 years that under President Magufuli, not a penny. Now, an increase in salary is a statutory right in Tanzania. Why would the government, which prides itself for its economic performance, not increase a salary of its employees and other employees in the country, not even a penny, if we are doing that well? Why would the government, wait a minute. Everyone knows our tourism industry has literally collapsed, all right? Today, the business environment in Tanzania is at its worst since we went multi-party. All right, businesses have closed, investors have run away. So where is this economic growth coming from?
All right, you fault Magufuli's government. One thing that he promised when he was coming to power is to stamp out corruption. We saw in his first days thousands of ghost workers were removed from the country's payroll. He began a tough war on the mining companies, specifically the giant Barrick Gold Corporation and other cooperatives that were operating in Tanzania for a very long time. To Tanzanians who their views you must be aware of as their opposition leader, if not a leader, this will be pointed as though they are the successors of Magufuli.
Let me start with Barrick Gold Corp story. President Magufuli stated when he seized the property, the gold concentrates of Acacia Mining, he said that this company owed the government some $450 billion. And he said, when we are paid this, every Tanzanian, be they old or young, would be able to buy an oar. What happened? What happened is, instead of getting $450 billion, we got 300 million payable over a period of 10 years, $30 million a year. And that is why, the law says if you enter into a contract with a mining company, you should table the contract in parliament. President Magufuli is nowhere near tabling that agreement with Barrick.
Tundu, he has demanded for a 60% stake in these 3 gold mines to end what he termed as an exploitation of Tanzania's resources.
Very good. He has claimed that. He should tell Tanzanians how much has he gotten out of it. Let's show us the numbers. Show us the money. Where is the money? How much do we have from Geita Gold Mine, the largest gold mine in Africa outside South Africa and Ghana? How much money are we getting out of North Mara Gold Mine in Tarime? How much money? Show us the numbers. Show us the contracts. He has not been able to give a single contract in public. Why? If it is a success story, and the way President Magufuli loves television, it should have been swamped with this document. But the fact is, 3 years since the enactment of those pieces of law, there is not a single contract that has been tabled in parliament. There is not a single contract that has been produced for public consumption. He is not different from what Mkapa was. He is not different from 10 years of Kikwete in that specific area which he claims is a success story.
All right, Tanzania reopened its...
And unlike, let me finish. Unlike Mkapa or Kikwete or Mwinyi and Nyerere for that matter, Magufuli has built a brand new international airport in his Chato village, like Mobutu Sese Seko.
And you have faulted that, plus also the purchasing of airlines for the national carrier.
Well, I know I have flown KQ for many, many years, my brother. I have never seen or heard a Kenyan president bragging about having one of the best airlines in the continent. Magufuli buys a couple of aircraft and he moves his entire government to the airport to receive them. We have become a national embarrassment, an international embarrassment.
All right, let's get to your return. Tanzania reopened its airspace in May 2020 to commercial, diplomatic aid, emergency and special mission flights. Is Tundu Lissu coming back? If yes, when is he coming back?
Tundu Lissu is coming back home on the 28th of July of this year. That's about 12, 13 days away from now.
All right, you paint a picture of a president, notwithstanding his shortcomings, of course. Many view his, what he does and his modus operandi as though they are not diplomatic as such. But nonetheless, if it is a bad picture as the one you painted on this show and continue to paint, why is it that opposition leaders are defecting to join him?
I grew up in the 80s and I know the Kenyan story very well. Actually, not just the Kenya of Moi, the Kenya of Kenyatta. In the 60s, 1964, the entire party called KADU defected to KANU. Because, why? Because they were being offered positions in the government, they were being offered money, they were being offered land. That's an old story for you Kenyans. You should not be surprised by what is...
Why are Tanzanian opposition leaders joining a president that you say has failed the country?
Well, because they're being corrupted. Because, and it is done openly, you know. You come to our party.
Tundu, what evidence do you have that your former colleagues in the opposition have been corrupted? These are statements that you are making.
Well, the president himself has said on one occasion that, you know, if you come, we'll put you back to contest the position. Mm-hmm. We know they have been given positions in the government. There are several. Actually, one of them is a deputy minister. Mm-hmm. You get two of them, not one. Two of them. Two of those Chadema leaders are today, deputy ministers in Magufuli's government. Others are in other positions of the administration. One is a district commissioner. Another is a regional administrative officer. This is bribery, even by the standards of Tanzanian law.
You say this is bribery. Have you, as an opposition leader, been approached to be part of the Magufuli government, just for the record?
Well, they know me very well. They would not even dare. And they have not dared.
All right, let's get to coronavirus and the state of the virus in Tanzania. The president says, and I quote, "Coronavirus is a devil. It cannot live in the body of Christ." This is a president who has a PhD in chemistry and is a devout Christian, a Catholic for that matter. What do you make of these statements?
Well, I wouldn't know much about his the truth of his faith, apart from what he professes himself. But I will say this about his handling of coronavirus. Mm-hmm. Coronavirus is one of the deadliest pandemics to have broken into the world in recent history. And the world is fighting coronavirus by using methods that scientists, that doctors, that educated people are telling us are the best way of dealing with coronavirus. Our president, who is allegedly a PhD in chemistry, believes in prayer. That if you want to treat this disease, you don't seek expert advice. You don't do what your doctors are telling you to do. Mm-hmm. You go to your local pastor, you pray, and the disease will go away. Or, better still, if you don't talk about it, you don't give any statistics about new infections or recoveries or deaths, then somehow this devil will go away. This is for the first century president. I said at the beginning, we have become an international embarrassment. This is what I mean.
And that is why. Is your country then downplaying the number of cases?
It is not downplaying the numbers. It is in denial. Denial is a different thing from downplaying the numbers. Uh-huh. We are in denial. In total denial. We think if we don't talk about it, we don't say how many people are dying, then somehow it will go away. This is witchcraft. This is not what a modern government should be doing. Certainly not what a president who claims to be a PhD in chemistry should be doing. But here we are.
All right, I understand we are out of time, but nonetheless, in 2016, you alongside the editors of Mawio newspaper, Simon Mkini, Jabir Idris, and the director of German printers, printers, Ismail Mahbub, were alleged, and you are facing still these charges of sedition. You are coming back to the country. Will you face these charges?
Listen, my brother, you know only one case. There are actually 6 criminal cases in the same court, opened between the first one that you just referred to and the last one a few months before I was shot. So I have 6 criminal cases, all of them sedition, all of them having something to do with my criticism and opposition, democratic and lawful opposition to the government. I'm coming back home, and I am not the one to run away from a court fight, certainly not when I'm completely innocent. This is just political persecution using the courts.
All right, and,
So
given that you have these charges and cases staring at you, what will be your first case of action when you land in Tanzania in July 28th?
The first act I will do is to go straight to the nomination convention of my party, Chadema, where, as you may have heard, I am one of the aspirants to be nominated, the standard bearer for Chadema to face Magufuli in October. So from the airport, I will go straight to the Chadema National Convention to ask my party members to give me the opportunity to face President Magufuli come October.
And are there any arrest warrants against you in relation to these cases?
I have not heard of a single one. Now listen, I hear people talking about this thing, those arrest warrants. The fact of the matter is, I had 6 cases at the Resident Magistrate Court of Dar es Salaam.
Mm-hmm.
I was out on bail on all 6 cases. Now, when I left the country, obviously the cases stopped. Now, the Resident Magistrate Court of Dar es Salaam has never lifted any of the bail orders that the bail that I was enjoying. I have not heard of the court saying that arrest Mr. Lissu because he's jumped bail. And the court has never done that because the magistrates know the circumstances and the reasons for my continued absence from Tanzania. So all these people who are talking about arrest warrant, I have not seen any, and they are yet to tell me who issued that arrest warrant and for what reason.
All right, as we conclude, let's get some of the feedback of the people who are watching the show. Joel Kamau Gishuhi on Facebook says, ask him whether he forgave his would-be assassins.
Well, those who deserve forgiveness are those who come forward and confess. So, it is about truth and reconciliation. Tell us what happened and then ask for forgiveness.
Oscar Abdullah on Facebook is also asking, why is he opposing Magufuli yet he has changed Tanzania?
Well, if had he been in Tanzania, he would know why an innocent person would oppose President Magufuli. He has changed Tanzania. He has made Tanzania a country where people are abducted and disappeared. He had made Tanzania a land where security forces kill innocent civilians with impunity. He has made Tanzania resemble Mobutu Sese Seko's Zaire. He has built an airport in his home village using public money. He has
all right, all those points you have made on this show. Nonetheless, the final question as well as a feedback, ask him about COVID-19 in their country, which is a question you have answered. Tundu, thank you for making time for us tonight on TV47 News Tonight with me, Abubakar Abdullahi.
Thank you so much, Kaka Abubakar, and thank you so much for having me on your program.
All right, and I wish you the very best of luck in your attempt to garner the Chadema nomination. That is Tanzanian opposition leader Tundu Lissu, who we were making sense of the polls, of the 2020 polls in Tanzania, and much more of the politics, the state of coronavirus in Tanzania, as well as opposition leaders defecting to join Magufuli. Well, that brings us to the end of tonight's edition of TV47 News Tonight. On behalf of the entire team that made this production possible, bye for now. Enjoy the rest of our programs, but nonetheless, it's a special day to one amongst us. In fact, my director, who is telling me of what to do next. But before that, I believe I should tell her happy birthday on air, Alice. Good night, God bless. I leave you up with the weather updates.